Today we're driving the 2025 Mercedes-Benz G550, the G-Class, the Geländewagen. We have a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6 with a 48-volt mild hybrid system that for 2025 sadly replaces the 4-liter bi-turbo V8. You can still get that 4-liter V8 in the G63, but that's not what we're driving today. That starts around 180 grand. This starts at an eye-watering $150,000. And as tested, as spec'd with a bunch of options, it's about 180 grand. So I'll include all of those very pricey options in the description so you guys can look through those. But first, let's walk you guys around this, talk about what it's been like to live with this week, and we'll take it for a drive and give you guys some first driving impressions on this new 2025 G-Class. So you can see here, we've got some familiar Mercedes-Benz interior bits, the MBUX infotainment system, though with this G-Wagon, we have this off-road cockpit button, which shows us a bunch of off-road pages, engine data, tire pressure. We have triple locked differentials here, center, rear, and front. You have a low range, manual gear selection with paddle shifters behind the wheel, downhill assist modes. I mean, this is pretty much ready to take you anywhere off-road. The G-Wagon has always been that, but it's also kind of changed over the years as more of a luxury option and a bit of a fashion statement. This G-Class is no different, painted in this matte gray. It looks fantastic. We are on a set of Michelin Pilot Alpine PA5 SUV tires today, winter tires. We're actually getting a little bit of snow a little bit later today, so we'll give you guys some winter driving impressions in this as well. We tried to convince Mercedes-Benz to let us take this ice racing this week, but it didn't happen. So no ice racing in the G-Wagon, but we'll get some snow driving in for you later. Looks about the same. This latest generation of G-Wagon is much better to drive than the previous generations. We have independent front suspension. Adaptive dampers are available. However, for your 150 grand, or in this case 180, you don't get a proximity key. That's an option. So you have to take the key out of your pocket, unlock it, open the door, and then when you have to close the door, you have to absolutely slam it. That's the G-Wagon thing. It says the rear entertainment package, which takes up quite a bit of rear seat room. It's just a big screen in your face. You can use some grab handles to get back here. This is a bit awkward with these screens here, honestly. I wonder if this would be a bit of a safety issue. I'm not sure. Anyway, we've got heated rear seats, climate control, USB ports, beautiful materials. We have the Burmester sound system. Really great in-car audio here. Alcantara headliner. Everything feels very solid, very well made. Spare tire. And then look at this. Wow. That's some woodwork right there. It's beautiful. Just beautiful. Now I can see why this costs 150 grand. You don't get this in anything else. Nice cargo cover. Tons of cargo space. The roof height here is absolutely insane. Carbon fiber grab handle there. Look at this diamond stitching. This 2025 G-Class is a bit more aerodynamic than the 2024. A bit slipperier through the air. We've got this kind of front spoiler that helps push air over the roof. Some changes to the front end. Very solid bull bar. Love the iconic G-Wagon turn signals. Seats are comfortable, very well bolstered. You can set them to kind of adjust the bolsters when you're going around corners. Let's pop the hood. This 48-volt mild hybrid system offers a little bit of torque fill. And it's rated for 18 miles to the gallon combined, which isn't too bad. 17 in the city, 19 on the highway. It makes 443 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque. A little bit less torque than the old V8, but a little bit more horsepower. That said, it does lack quite a bit of personality compared to the old twin-turbo V8, but that's kind of what we're expecting with this new inline 6. It's very smooth, and you can still get the V8 with the AMG. Honestly, if you're shopping a G-Wagon, money is probably no object, and that's kind of what I would go for. The G63 is kind of the king of the G-Wagons, unless if you want to go off-road, in which case you can spec this with some pretty cool options. We just got a car wash, so parking sensors, I think, are freaking out a little bit. All right, we have a touchpad here to control our infotainment, which I haven't seen in a Mercedes in quite a while. I kind of like it. It's nice to have some redundant control and quick access buttons to certain functions down here. The operation here works really well. It's responsive. It's super fast to change screens and applications. I mean, kind of impressed with the infotainment. It doesn't quite fit the whole screen and CarPlay, which has always kind of been a Mercedes-Benz thing, but that's okay. I like that Mercedes gives you quick access buttons to your navigation, your cameras, various car settings. There's a car wash mode that's very clever. Turns off all the parking sensors, closes all the windows, sunroof, and folds the mirrors in. I just use that. And the rest of this is all just kind of familiar Mercedes-Benz stuff. You can choose your gauge cluster from a number of different designs. I kind of like classic the most. Someday, it'd be nice to get approval to take one of these off-road, and I'm very curious to see how it would do on a trail, maybe at Hollyoaks when it's open. Right now in the wintertime, Hollyoaks isn't really open that often enough for us to go out there and film, so maybe someday. Triple lock differentials are very, very cool to have in this G-Wagon. We have physical buttons for climate control. Thank you, Mercedes, for not getting rid of those. Honestly, kind of some of the older buttons and switchgear in this interior are very refreshing and very nice to live with in this G-Wagon. I haven't had any issues with the user interface this week. It's been a really easy vehicle to operate, to use, to change settings, to do things with. Some of the haptic controls on the steering wheel take a bit of getting used to, like setting cruise control, but once you kind of get calibrated to the light touch of everything, it seems to work pretty well. We get a few different drive modes here. Eco, Trail, Rock, Sand, Comfort, Sport, and Individual. I've mostly been driving around in Comfort, but those off-road modes are very interesting. Let's start off in Comfort, and we'll go from there. Authoritative lock as we set off from the doors. This is a really interesting blend between old school off-roading and a very luxurious modern driving experience. I think the biggest thing to get used to driving this G-Wagon this week is just the door slam. You have to use all your might to close this driver's side door. I'd say probably about 80% of the time, I don't close it hard enough, and I have to open it up and close it again. Nine-speed automatic works really well with this inline 6. Again, it's a very smooth powertrain. We'll put it into sport mode here. Let you listen to it sing. I have had a few rougher shunts from it this week. When you dip into the throttle a little bit aggressively, it doesn't quite transition or blend that initial acceleration as well as I would like. For a G-Wagon, it handles very well. This new generation drives great on the road. The road banners are a huge improvement. It still does feel like you're driving something with a solid front axle, even though it has independent front suspension, but that's part of the charm. Think Jeep Wrangler, but without the road noise. It is very quiet in here, which kind of is unexpected given the shape of this. Very refined driving experience. You can do a lot of miles on this. Despite the slightly wallowy nature of it, it's not bad enough to, I think, be an annoyance or be cumbersome to drive. This is a very comfortable vehicle. What this powertrain lacks in personality, it makes up for in smoothness and refinement. And I guess I'm okay with that. If you still want the V8, you can always go get the G63 or find a 2024 G550 for sale. A little bit of turbo whistle, a bit more of an exhaust note than I was expecting. For an inline six, it does sound nice. Lots of travel from the brake pedal, but still I feel like for an SUV, for an off-roader, pretty good feel. Seamless shifts from the 9-speed auto. And when you're driving this around town, the engine start-stop with the 48-volt mild hybrid is completely seamless. You barely notice it. Put this in eco mode, it plays a nice trick where it just turns the engine off throttle. So you can just lift and coast. And I was actually averaging about 18, 19 miles to the gallon in this earlier this week with highway driving at reasonable speeds and a little bit of city driving. So maybe this new inline-6 is actually a bit more efficient than the old V8 was in the real world. Let's go back into sport mode. The steering does not want to self-center. When you come out of a turn, you kind of have to pull it back to center. Nine-speed auto is really responsive. There's no need for more power here, but you can't help but know that something is missing in terms of emotion and sound, and just nothing sounds as good as an AMG 4-liter bi-turbo V8. They really nailed the exhaust note. All right, we're still in sport mode. Let's see how this handles an entrance ramp. Lot of intervention there from the stability control system. But, I mean, for a G-Wagon, very respectable handling. This gets around a corner, no problem. Honestly, for the outright off-road capability here, this is very good road manners, and that's something I didn't used to say about previous generation G-Wagons. It's entertaining and kind of engaging to drive in the way that a Jeep Wrangler is entertaining and engaging to drive. You have to pay a little bit more attention to where you're steering, where you're going. The driving position is fantastic. You can see over everything, tons of visibility here. There's a certain charm to the G-Wagon, to the G-Class, that has just always remained. And, you know, yes, they've changed the powertrain, but it's still here. It still feels special. And it's in little things, little elements. The dashboard design, the kind of chunky off-road nature of everything in here. Everything's squared off. The sight line over the hood, seeing those massive turn signals that kind of help you negotiate the corners of the vehicle around tighter spaces. The steering, I mean, it all just kind of adds up to, it's an event driving this G-Wagon. It's an experience. This is honestly one of my favorite interiors from Mercedes. It's so purposeful and easy to use. They haven't screenified everything here. It still feels utilitarian and usable, but everything you touch is incredibly high quality, as it should be for $150,000. Power level feels about right here with this inline six. I'll be honest, we've mostly tested G63s, and those definitely feel overpowered. They're hilarious and they sound amazing, but they feel overpowered. This is about right. Excited to test the electric G-Wagon too at some point. Over the years of doing this, testing cars, filming reviews, I don't know, I've got to say, the G-Wagon's always been one of my favorite press cars to get in for a week and spend time with. They're just fun, they're nice, they're luxurious, they're insanely expensive, but they're cool. And this one is no less enjoyable to drive. Maybe it's a little bit less exciting and, you know, entertaining, but I'm not really missing out on as much as I thought I would with this new inline six. It's better than I thought it was going to be. That said, you should still get the V8 because, you know, that's just kind of what belongs in here. But at the end of the day, if you don't really care about having a V8 in your G-Wagon, you just want a G-Wagon, this inline six is fine. It could use a few more standard features. Never really understood the Germans' obsession with putting everything behind a paywall, even stuff that's in $20,000 cars. But I guess that's just the way it is. I would love to have a proximity key standard in this. If you get a minute, check out the options list in the description. It's pretty ridiculous. There you go. Oh yeah, I can tow 7,700 pounds too. That's pretty impressive. Premium fuel is required. The look hasn't changed that much, but boy, the driving experience sure has. Let's do a quick sound system test. Volume controls right here, or also annoyingly right here on the steering wheel. As usual, the Burmester is fantastic. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.